said, my name is Blessinng Irabor, and I'm the President, Organization of Women in International Trade. Today, I'll be looking at the African Continental Free Trade Area, which is called AfCFTA, and women. And our outline, I'll look at the background, challenges, and benefits of AfCFTA for women, the role of women in AfCFTA, and I talk a little bit about OIT as an organization. Please, I would love somebody to help me share my slide, if that is okay. My slide is already with Madam Lillian. I'll go a little bit, give a little bit about the background of African Continental Free Trade Area. On the 21st of March precisely, there was an extraordinary general meeting of the African member states held in Kigali by 44 countries. And in that extraordinary meeting, it was agreed that African should have a free trade zone, and that was how the African Continental Free Trade was vetted and agreed upon. And it was signed at that extraordinary general meeting. Originally, we had 27 countries, then we have 44 countries. Now, 54 countries out of the 55 countries of the African member states have signed into AfCFTA, and up to 27 countries have ratified. Thank you, Madam Lillian. I'm so grateful. I'm on the background, which is the second page. The African Continental Free, the next slide, please. Okay, thank you. The African Continental Free Trade Agreement establishes a single market of 1.2 billion consumers with an aggregate GDP between 2.1 and $3.4 trillion, enabling African countries to pursue socioeconomic development, peace, and security goals in the region. Widely embraced as more than just the largest free trade area in the world, it is larger than the Asian free trade and the American free trade. AfCFTA has the potential to generate direct and indirect employment, in particular for women and young Africans, while advancing food security, agriculture, and infrastructure. That is what AfCFTA will do for us as an entity, as a region. Thank you, Madam Lillian. Like I said, I'm putting the AfCFTA in numbers. We have a population of 1.3 billion people in Africa. And you can imagine if we all are trading with each other. The African Continental Free Trade, will have a combined GDP of 3.4 trillion US dollars if we start to trade amongst ourselves. Like I earlier said, 54 countries have signed. 415 million will be lifted out of extreme poverty, while 30 million will be impacted by AfCFTA. In West Africa alone, 12 million will be impacted by the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. That is what AfCFTA will do for you. What is the benefit of AfCFTA and women? Like I said, for every opportunities you have, there are benefits, and we're going to be looking at the benefit of what the African Continental Free Trade Agreement will bring for women across the region when that door is open. I represented the African continent, and you can see the hand of a key being slotted inside. What I mean by having that key is that the opportunity the African Continental Free Trade Agreement will open for member countries, especially for women in the African Continental Free Trade Area. African Continental Free Trade Area will support and present women with opportunity in the formal and the informal sector. When I talk about the informal sector, we have a lot of women at the cross-border trade that are trading between our countries. You have women in agriculture, those that are rural farmers. We are talking about those at the informal level. After we support them, they will benefit largely from AfCFTA. Then with us that are already in the formal sector, where you have our businesses being registered and you have your business being structured to an extent, there is so much benefit from AfCFTA, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. That is what I meant by the formal and informal when I talk about AfCFTA. The same benefit we have for men. It has expanded access to different markets in the African Continental Free Trade. You can look at it when you can transport your goods from Nigeria to Ghana to South Africa without paying. You have up to 90% duty free. You are exporting across the region free. You know what it means. There will be knowledge of exchange on the value chain addition. For those of us that are producing, when you see your other partner that has produced from the other region, you want to upscale your own production. So there will be a value addition. You have a facilitated trade and business visit and investment across the region. In specific, AfCFTA offers to women with strategic that are equitable. It will remove the trade barrier to enable free flow of goods and services. What do I mean when I say that AfCFTA will remove the trade barriers? You understand that when you are crossing borders from Cotonou to Benin, you know the different huge taxes that are being paid. AfCFTA will remove all those barriers because you will have free movement from one country to the other. That is one of the benefits of this continental free trade, which is a single market. It will harmonize the trade regulation and create a uniform standard. What that simply means is that Ghana will no longer have a different standard for goods and services, while Nigerians have their own standard, South African will have its own standard. No, with AfCFTA, these standards are going to be uniform. The regulation and it will create a uniform standard for everybody in AfCFTA. That is what ASCOM is doing. ASCOM is the African Standard Organization. So with this, we'll have one uniform standard for everybody in AfCFTA. It will potentially lift 98 million Africans out of extreme and moderate poverty. It will help, these are some of the benefits. Then what are the challenges? Definitely when you have an advantage, you have disadvantage. And I'm glad that the African member country that have ratified, that they are all coming together to see how do we help so that these challenges can be removed, which we call bottleneck, currency fluctuation. As we speak, African is looking to have one currency because of this continental free trade, which you no longer start to look at, oh, Nigerian dollar is weak, African Ghana is strong, Kenya is strong. So you know that from country to country there is different currency. These are some of the challenges that is being looked into as we speak today. Then you have the language barrier. We all know that in Africa, we don't speak the same language. These are some of the challenges that women will be confronted with, and we are looking at what should be done. Like I said earlier, certification and documentation has always been a huge challenge for women in trade. And that is why today ASCOM is looking at how to create a uniform standard that will be favorable. And the same thing, they are looking at having a unified custom. What do I mean by unified custom? I mean that we're looking at having one custom body in the whole of Africa so that documentation will be one and same for everybody coming from different countries that will be taking their goods and services into these different countries. We are looking at product specific requirements. Like I said earlier, Nigerian will say, oh, for you to bring in, let's take tomato paste, it has to be like this. If we now have a uniform standard, it will not be easy for one to trade along the region. We look at lack of market information. Women are really not getting market information. That is why AfCFTA is working with the different BSOs to make sure that at the end of the day, that through the BSOs, women will get adequate information. You already have the ECOWAS trade portal, which now you have, they call it ECOWAS trade tariff barrier, where you can just click in and you have all this information at the tip of your finger. Inadequate fund to support rural urban goods transition. You know, before now, we all have been speaking that finance, access to finance, it is a huge challenge for women. And that is one of the key areas today that is being looked into in AfCFTA, how to make sure that there is fund that will be going out, and the credit line, women can easily access this credit line at whatever level their business are into. Another one is the freight cost. Like I said, because the custom is, we don't have a unified custom yet, you have a lot of different costs from you entering different countries. But once you have a unified custom, these challenges is going to be addressed. And these are some of the things that we that are part of the AfCFTA team has already put out to, that they have to be looked into for AfCFTA to be successful and for women to benefit from the African continental free trade area. How do you advance women's role in AfCFTA? The appointment of it, today in Nigeria, you have different trade facilitation committee, and what we've said that the appointment of this national focal point to advance the implementation, that women should be part of this focal point in that of the AfCFTA. Like I earlier talked about the barriers online mechanism, that that our system should be automated. Once the system is automated, people can log in, do all their registration to the border, establish a simplified trade regime that brings informal cross-border trade into the formal. With AfCFTA, you are not going to have anything like the informal trade. What is informal trade? Those are businesses that are not registered. But with AfCFTA, it is going to help them to be formal businesses, and that will prevent a lot of harassment for women. Well, the design and the implementation, we talked about it, that this design of implementing AfCFTA should be gender responsive in terms of policy. Gender should be properly mainstreamed into AfCFTA. That is what women have been agitating. And today, I will gladly tell you that women are being mainstreamed into the African continental free trade, because it will advance this will help to advance the participation of women in agricultural sector, as well as the policy to encourage employers to hire more women and to empower them with ICT. The world has shifted from physical businesses to ICT. So with AfCFTA coming, there will be a lot of technical training to upscale technical skill, and women will be part of this training so that they too can contribute their quota. We talked about the implementation of a trade facilitation agenda to improve safety and reduce time and cost involved in trading. With the trade facilitation, what is trade facilitation? Trade facilitation helps you to reduce costs, the timing of you doing business, like what we see today at the Apapa or the borders. Because our system is not automated, you spend a whole lot of time going through the manual, moving from one office to the other. But once it is being automated with the AfCFTA and working with different countries, it will be easy for us to get into once the systems are being automated, and every country is working on it. I'm in two of the trade facilitation committee that is working to see that our customs, today, that their system are being fully automated, and we're hoping that happens in the next few months. to provide women too with the targeted skill development and training in local content and rule of origin requirements. When we talked about local content, you have things that are produced locally. A lot of skills have to be developed and trained so that women can be supported to be so that women are supported in the area of local content. The rule of origin. What does the rule of origin say? That under AfCFTA, you must have at least 65% of your raw materials being sourced from the member country. Then the other 35 can be imported. But you know what this will do for us and for women in agriculture. If we are sourcing local materials for our production locally within the continent, you know the kind of job and you know what it will do to women-owned businesses. We talked about the sanitary measure that at the borders, that women and men should not be viewed at the same way, so that there will be provision for sanitary measures at the border and other technical requirement that is required to meet after trade standard for women to be able to benefit. Today, they are collecting gender statistics and they are conducting analysis to inform gender responsive policy. It's not that we don't have gender policies, but these policies are not responsive. They are really not being implemented the way it is being implemented in the developed world. So we are calling that all the documents regarding to AfCFTA policies and implementation will be gender responsive. And we women, we have key role to play, especially the women in services. And that is why, as a person, I am always soliciting that we have more women coming into the trade space as experts, so that women will benefit, will have more voices for women, agitating for women gender responsive policies. We talked about involving civil society, like the Edo Women's Forum, my organization, the OWIT, and other organizations that are here, because that is where our women will get information and know what is going, and two, we can give them feedback from time to time. And thank God today that some of us have been drafted into the national committee of the AfCFTA, and we are giving our voices, and we are seeing where there is lapses, how women have really not been mainstreamed, and those documents are being looked into. We looked at providing gender training for trade negotiation. As a woman, if I am going to negotiate for a woman, I know where it bites that woman. I know, because I've been in that sector, I'll be able to negotiate for my fellow women, so that at the end of the day, she is not being cheated or disenfranchised of what is duly supposed to be for her. I'll just talk a little bit about my organization here. The Organization of Women in International Trade is an international organization that started off in the US in 1989. But today, we have more than 3 African countries now as I speak, because South Africa have just been voted in, and we hope in the next few months that Ghana too will be voted in. And in OWIT, we support to help women understand the basics of trade protocols and agreements, train them on standard requirements of goods and services, so that trading and exporting into other countries will be made easy for them. That is some of the basic things we do, as providing technical support, access to finance, and creating market for these women. OWIT together with other partners. When I say together with other partners, OWIT is a strong partner of Edo Women Funders Entrepreneur. We engage women entrepreneurs through webinar series on AfCFTA and other free trade agreements. We have one that is upcoming very soon, and your president will be sharing with you, because we are all partners in progress. We support women documentation from what we have supported when the World Bank and the GIZ, they were doing their work on AfCFTA and other trade protocols, OWIT was one of the organizations that supported them so that women can be properly captured in trade policies and what has affected women in trade, and what is the role of women in the African Continental Free Trade. Do you know, I didn't want to talk so much about my organization because today is a day for the Edo Women's Funders Launch. So I just give a short overview. You can visit our website, www.owit.org or www.owitnigeria.org to learn more about OWIT. But today our concentration is on the Edo Women Funders, and today is their day. So it's not a day for me to talk so much about my organization, but I just wanted you to just know a little bit about the organization called OWIT. And what is the role of women in AfCFTA? We have to be prepared. For us to be prepared, we have to be prepared to expand our business scope beyond our local market. You have to think outside the box. You have to think going global. I had to put my friend's picture there. She's my partner, she's my friend, she's my sister. She is the founder too of Women Going Global. So I just put her picture on it because I am looking at the Edo women from here and all over the world for us to learn how to expand our scope beyond the local market. We have to educate ourselves about the market growth opportunity. There are different market opportunity. Women will say there is no market. No, there is market. We get orders every day. All we need to do as women is that how do we prepare ourselves? Our goods have to be up to date in terms of standard. Our packaging has to be beautiful. When people see your product on shelf, it's not telling them that this is a woman's product. It is always saying it is a product. And it is the way you package your product that attracts anybody to come to that product and want to buy it. So as women, we should be ready. We should be ready to compete with men, that our product will be attractive and our product should meet all the required standards that will make someone to buy your product. Understand the harmonized standard and comply with it. Develop a winning strategy. In e.g., e-commerce, women should start franchising. It is not only men that are franchising. Women should look at outside Nigeria, who do I collaborate with? Outside Nigeria, who do I collaborate with to get my product? And I can give my products to that person. I can give my franchise to that person. The person will produce at the same way. You have KFC, okay, we have Matt Ice in Edo. You have the Chicken Republic. Those are franchise. We women should start to look into that box. And I will end up by saying this. Think outside the box. Women should learn how to collaborate. We are not leaving any woman behind. We are all partners. We should think global. We should think about expanding our market into the international and regional market. Thank you and God bless you. It has been an honor talking to you this few minutes on the African Continental Free Trade Area. God bless you.